We can't start a cozy reading vibes video without some cute glasses first. But wait, I think we can do cuter. Like paw prints! Hey nerdy ghouls! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Mandy Spooks, and here we celebrate the magic of love, life, and pop culture. Today we're going to be getting into my latest obsession, which is reading. However, the thing about my obsessions is they tend to get cluttery. Between my bags, my mugs, and my clothes, I am at the point in my life where I cannot afford one more single cluttery obsession because a cluttery home leads to a very unhappy Mandy Spooks. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how I decluttered my physical book collection and transitioned into a digital reading lifestyle, along with some of my tips on how to be a spookworm like me, but also not spend your entire paycheck on, let's be honest, a TBR list that I probably won't ever get through. Before we get started, I want to give a major thank you to Pair Eyewear for sponsoring this video. We'll be hearing more about them later. Okay, so the first thing I did was gather all of my books in one spot, from all of my own books that I collected over the last year to Mr. Spooks' books to all of my library rentals, and as you can see, they quickly started to add up. The first thing I did was pull aside all the books that I knew I could not part with. If you guys are interested in a video of hearing, I guess, my keepers list, please let me know in the comments down below because I'm dying to nerd out with you guys over those books, but I didn't want this video to turn into an hour-long video. But then the next thing I did was start to pull apart the books that I knew I wanted to donate into a bag, and the first thing to go was this Goosebumps collection. And I want to be honest with you guys, I've been very transparent about my journey as a content creator lately, and this collection was something I scored off of Facebook Marketplace because I thought it'd be so cool to post for the gram, but deep down in reality, I am not at a place in my life where I really want to read Goosebumps books, and that doesn't say anything about me as a spooky creator. It just means that I want to involve myself in much more magical, positive books right now. And then the next thing I did was start to pull all of my books from the library into a separate bag so that I could easily separate the two bags when I headed out. The first thing I did was head out to the library because I figured it'd be the easiest thing to conquer first. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a little sad returning these books, but if I'm being honest, my library books ended up causing a lot of mental health challenges for myself that I didn't expect because I am a very busy ghoul, and on top of being busy, I have a lot of hobbies. Like currently I'm obsessed with gaming, but 2 weeks from now I might be obsessed with reading again, and vice versa. Like it just goes back and forth. So having a library card became a very bad problem because between all of the waiting lists and having to get books ahead of time because I didn't want to miss them when I was ready to read them, and then I just didn't have enough time to read them fast enough, that my books just started growing, but I just started getting more stressed out and feeling guilty the bigger it got and the slower I was at reading. So parting ways with them was positive in the sense that I wouldn't have that looming over me, but also I felt like a total failure that I never got through most of them, to be honest. But then next we headed over to a local bookstore here in Denver that is called Black and Red. And this store is literally a nerdy ghoul heaven. You could get lost here for hours. There are rows and rows and rows of the most awesome books and also games. So like I said, total vibes. Anyway, I decided to sell my books here because they also sell vinyl, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to give a little magic back to Mr. Spooks with the credit I got from the books so that he could continue to add to his amazing vinyl collection. All right, so let's get into all of the tips on how I have achieved my digital reading lifestyle. Right off the bat, a really big part of my digital reading lifestyle is, of course, taking care of my eyes, which is why our sponsor, Pair Eyewear, is so important to me. When I discovered Pair Eyewear last Halloween season, it was literally love at first fright because if you guys haven't already seen, their top frames are absolutely amazing. You get your base frame, and then you can top off your pair to change up the look at any time, starting at $25 per top frame, which is freaking amazing. So not being able to try them on was really scary for me, but I used their virtual try-on and I loved how accurate the virtual try-on was previously. I decided to try a new pair. So this is the Wanda and I'm really happy with it, as you can tell. So I decided to get some more top frames, and now we have music notes and we have the, I would say, signature Mandy Spooks lavender sparkles. And then this one honestly is my current fave right now. I think it's called the Arcade, but it's got total gamer vibes all over it. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm in a total gaming mood right now. So I just feel like this is probably the one I'm gonna be wearing permanently. So what I decided to do was get a pair that is non-prescribed with a blue light filter, so that at all times my eyes are protected if I'm on a screen, because I'm always on a screen. I work full-time on a computer. I like gaming. I like, what else has a screen? Everything has a screen these days. But now moving into a digital reading lifestyle, I don't neglect the fact that that's one more screen my eyes are on all the time. So I really wanted to make sure that I had a blue light filter to protect my eyes when I'm reading as well, even if I happen to be wearing my contacts, no matter where I'm reading at. And the really cool thing is that if you get non-prescribed glasses like I did, Pair lets you add on the blue light filter for free at no additional cost. So if you want to be a cute spook worm like me and read in style while protecting your eyes, you can save 15% off your first order of Pair eyewear with the code MandySpooks15. So my next tip is to invest in a small, emphasis on small, reading device. And the reason I say that is because I originally started reading on a regular size Apple iPad. However, I quickly realized that it was a total nightmare to read on, especially because I tend to read a lot when I'm traveling, especially on planes. So when I'm reading in the plane between two people, it's like really difficult to hold up the big iPad. So I upgraded or downgraded to the Apple mini iPad. And this is not an advertisement, and I realized that I probably sound like a total hypocrite because I was like, here's how to save money, but also get an iPad. That is not what I'm saying. For me personally, I just have everything Apple, so it made sense. I use it for different reasons, not just reading, but there are also alternatives like Amazon tablets, Kindle. I actually was looking at some of those, but I decided on the iPad just because it made the most sense for all of my connectivity. There we go. But definitely try to find an option that works best for you and your budget, because at the end of the day, it's just about the actual content in the books that makes the magic happen. And then the next tip I have is to find the nearest library near you and go get a library card. I know it sounds so obvious, but you would be surprised how many of my friends have told me that they use apps but don't have a library card, and that leads to a lot of issues. So my library card personally also gives me access to Access 360 and Hoopla. And I know that it seems like you're making a much bigger investment up front if you would just buy a $20 book here and there. But trust me, I think that for me personally, and I'm always wanting to buy books, and it's so easy to want to buy books. So in a way, I feel like long term, I'm saving money because I only made this one purchase on my digital reading device, and moving forward, I'm not really allowing myself to purchase physical books unless it's a book that I absolutely cannot get anywhere in some kind of digital reading format, if that makes sense. So then my next tip is to get a library card. And I know this sounds so obvious and everyone's like, yeah, whatever. But trust me, get it and do the research and find out what resources your library actually offers, because I have so many friends that are into audiobooks and ebooks that are using the Libby app but did not even realize that there are more options out there. Because if you don't already know this, a lot of these apps have limits on how many licenses they can let borrow the books at a time. So sometimes really popular books will have waiting lists. But if you have access to all of the apps, then you can kind of use all of them to try to find the one that you need. It works out perfectly, trust me. It has not done me wrong so far. My library personally gives me access to Access 360 and Hoopla as well, and then also lets me connect to Libby. So it's a great resource to utilize. And if you can't find the information on their website, don't be shy, go talk to a librarian and ask them like, hey, what resources does the card offer? Are there any apps that I can connect to on my devices that give me, I guess, perks or access from the library card? And I'm sure that they'll be happy to share those resources with you. And my final tip is, I know it's a very obvious one and it still seems like more money, but Kindle Unlimited on Amazon is a great option if you're one of those people who just always wants to get like the latest books or just cannot stop buying books, because at least you're limiting it to like one constant minimal purchase every month and you have access to a lot of different options. I personally ended up trying it out for Christmas with the free trial because I really wanted to read a book called, oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called The Visitor from Sergio Gomez. It was like an alien themed Christmas read and I really wanted to read it and I couldn't find it anywhere without being able to get Kindle Unlimited on a trial subscription, and I ended up loving this option. So I highly recommend checking it out even as a trial if you haven't already tried it before. I'll leave a link for that in the description below. And the last thing that I really want to talk to you guys about is my Spook Worm Club. I have gotten a lot of questions about what it is exactly, if I'll be doing like planned read-alongs or how it's going to work. And to be honest, I feel like it was one of those things that I got so excited coming up with when I started reading again that I didn't really think through the logistics. I just really thought of it as this, I guess, like space where everyone could nerd out and love spooky books together and like wear the merch as a badge of honor, but I didn't really see it as a like actual reading club where people had to read together for you to actually be a part of the club. But I realize now that a lot of you are interested in that. However, I don't know if there are enough of us that really want to be reading together at the same time, so I'm still trying to work that out. But for now, I just think of Spook Worm Club as a place for spooky Halloween lovers to come together and nerd out on all of the like cozy, magical vibes that books bring to us. And I do want to clarify that even though my intention originally with it was to only cover, I guess, spooky or fall themed books, I don't feel like that's going to be the case moving forward. I'm still at the very beginning of rediscovering my reading journey, and I want to have the freedom to explore any kind of book I want. I think for me, Spook Worm Club is a state of mind. And probably the last tip I have to add to this, because I think a lot of people, especially in the bookish community, feel that like physical books are what create like a bookish vibe and make you feel cozy. But as you can tell from this video, there are ways to create that vibe without having to have the physical books around you. So anytime that I'm gonna read at home, I always brew myself a cup of tea or coffee to really like make me feel at home. I light a candle. This candle specifically, I saved for this video. It's called Witch's Brew and it's from Senchala Candles. It was a gift from a good friend, and I literally lit this candle when I started reading Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, and it just brought my reading world to life. And ever since then, I always light a candle before I read. If you have a TV around you but you don't have a fireplace, you can also put a fireplace on like I did. There is always ways to create the magic around you while still living a minimalistic lifestyle. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if you're interested in reading books together, but if not, I also want to hear what you're currently reading because I'm looking for my next TBR list. Until next time, sending you goals and kisses. Bye.